Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome to my channel. It is Tuesday morning after a very long weekend, and we're back at it. We're back. Did you guys have a good Labor Day? If you're in the United States, did you enjoy your third 3-day weekend? Many of you are sending your kids back to school this week, which is awesome. Some of your kids are going, well, not awesome to go back to school. A lot of the kids these days are actually going to virtual school, which is what we're going to be starting on Friday. But for many of you, today's the first day of school. So happy first day of school. If you have already started, happy third, fourth week of school. Okay, so over the weekend, we did some mashups, normal stuff. We don't do a lot of uploads over the weekend. We try to take that time off. Live streaming just makes it a whole lot easier. I did a very personal story yesterday, which was very exhausting, but also very rewarding to get my story out there. If you haven't checked it out and you are interested, you should. Also, we're going to talk about the Duggars, because we talk about the fundies here because you guys love the Duggars, the sister wives, the Rodriguezes, the Bates, you know, all that stuff. Okay, so Counting On is currently airing on TLC. There's actually a new episode that will be on tonight and one next week, which sneak peek says there might be a courting Duggar announcement coming up, and a lot of people are suspecting the announcement will be of Lauren and James, Kendra's younger sister, and James Duggar, who is, I believe, 19 or 20 years old. Anna Duggar has been a little bit snippier than normal on her Instagram. A couple weeks ago, there was a episode where they did the sweater party. Remember, they wore like the ugly sweaters and there was the pageant. And Anna made a comment on her Instagram that she was grateful anytime, although rarely, that she is involved or invited to be on the show. And also basically pointing out that, you know, they're not on the show because her husband is a creepazoid. Okay. Then we were talking last week about how Anna and Josh are flipping a house that hasn't been finished, which had a lot of people wondering, why are they selling the house that isn't being flipped? Some people even speculated that Jim Bob Duggar might have unloaded the house to Josh Duggar in an effort to avoid taxes. And then other people were suggesting that Josh Duggar is now trying to unload this house because he is dealing with a lawsuit that will be going to court in trial soon. And he also has this looming investigation that's being handled right now with the Department of Homeland Security. So we have Anna, who's been a little bit feistier on edge lately. Maybe it's a symptom of what's going on in her home, but she's getting a little bit more irritated with her in-laws. Obviously, last week she makes the comment like she's so grateful that they would even include her, and she, you know, in the smallest itty-bitty ways. And then yesterday, she actually literally shaded Michelle Duggar. Now, I can't tell you that this is not shade because sometimes you'll say, oh, this is reaching. No, this is not reaching. This is literally shading her mother-in-law. So she says, in a recent photo, she shared photos of her kids and they were all together. And Mackenzie was actually with one of her younger siblings, and they said, are you buddying the siblings? Mackenzie looks like a great big sister. And the buddy system is something that Michelle Duggar implemented. And Anna said, we do not have a buddy system. I'm the mom, and as much as possible, I want our children to be free to enjoy their childhood. Whoa. Yikes. So remember last week where I told you about Alice, the lady who basically said that Michelle Duggar hadn't cleaned the house in years, hadn't made a meal in years, and relied on her oldest daughters to basically raise her family? That's not a lie. So it appears as though Anna is shading her mother-in-law for not allowing her children to be children. And this could also be a reason why there was some serious supervision problems with their son Josh, because clearly they were not interested in supervising their kids and allowing their children to supervise themselves, which is never a good thing. Kids will always be kids. So in the buddy system, this is what how Michelle described it. She said on TLC, she said, we realize that it works better if we're trying to hurry to have one of the others help the little guys buckle their seatbelts. I've noticed the ones that were teamed up and worked together a lot have such a sweetness in their relationship. So basically, she said that she decided to have a buddy system, and it started about when Josh was 8 years old, and the 4 oldest girls got buddies. So Jana, Jill, Jessa, and Ginger. And then the kids would be rotated each time depending on the number of kids that they were doing. And it's not clear if the boys actually were doing any of it, because I don't think they were. It was the 4 girls that basically raised and did most of the child rearing for Michelle, and she would wean the child at 6 months old and then hand it off to their buddy. So this is the other interesting thing, is that Jana is the one that pretty much raised Josie. And a lot of people for a very long time have speculated that the reason why Jana stays at the house is because of Josie, because she got Josie when it was. And even when Michelle Duggar had Josie, she says that her son wanted to be the buddy. And she said, and she was talking about Jackson, and she said, well, it's our turn to get another buddy, and he's got a dimple just like me, and that means she's on our team. I'll make sure that if you need anything for Josie, I'll get it. You just tell me whatever she needs, and I'll go get it for you. Well, Jana was in charge of, so Jana's team included Josie, and because she's the buddy, she was basically mom for Josie, which is weird considering that she's like the last child. Michelle didn't have any more kids. And a lot of times people will notice that Michelle will be having photos with the kids, and the kids look so uncomfortable around their parents because they don't spend much time with them. In fact, a lot of people believe that Jana remains in the home because mom and dad are so off with their kids that she's the only one that like takes care of things. Michelle admitted in an Us Weekly interview earlier this summer that nothing would get done in the house if Jana wasn't there. She's the person that does projects. When they had an episode about quarantine, it was Jana that was doing schooling with the kids. It's clear that Jana is the mom, and Michelle's just using Jana as to be the mom. Michelle would also describe that the teams had they had different colors and they had different requirements. So they had different jurisdictions around the house. So Jill's team had certain chores they had to do, and Jana's team had certain chores that they had to do, and Jessa's team had certain things they had to do, and Ginger's teams had certain things that they had to do. When Jill and Derek decided to do their missionary work in Central America, and they were saying goodbye to the family, there was 2 sisters that appeared to have a really hard time saying goodbye to her. One was Jenny and the other was Joanna. Joanna has basically acknowledged that Jill raised her in interviews and has said things like she's always taken care of her. And Jill has admitted that she used to change Joy's diapers and basically took care of her from the time that Joy was a baby, which is I think they're 7 or 8 years apart. So imagine a 7 or 8 year old, Jill's 29 and Joy's 22. So they're 7 years apart, a 7-year-old being handed a baby, and it's like, you're going to raise this kid now. Yeah, so they're not kids. So Anna Duggar has a point. And then there was another incident back when Jackson was actually lost out of airport. Now, Jackson was Jana's buddy, and Jackson was the one that asked Michelle if they could have Josie on their team, and Jana was going to be the mom. Well, apparently Jackson gets lost, and there is something happening. They're filming, and they hear an announcement on the loudspeaker that there's a missing little boy named Jackson, and it was actually their son that was Jackson, and the parents were not concerned at all. And when they actually find Jackson, he does not go to mom and dad. He runs to Jana for comfort. And apparently Jim Bob and Michelle joked to the cameras about everything. So Jana is still at home, not having kids, not married. And there might be a serious duty that she feels to her siblings, because Josie, if you remember, was a micropreemie, has had a history of febrile seizures and some health issues. And Michelle doesn't seem to give a flying F about what happens to her kids, to be honest. She doesn't cook, she doesn't clean. She seems to just, I don't even know, dictate what they do. I don't even know. I'm not sure what Michelle does anymore. She might have been more hands-on when she had her younger kids, and there weren't as many. But when she had that many kids, she just stopped being their mom. And it's kind of sad if you think about it. Like, Jessa is the one that took Jordan to get her teeth cleaned, and Jordan's screaming for mom, and Jessa's right there. You know, it's really sad to think that these kids honestly don't have a relationship with their mom, and their siblings are who they actually cling to, which could be another reason why Joanna has left Counting On. her sister Jill is who raised her, and her sister Jill is who has left the cult, and maybe Joy is being influenced by her sister Jill. Not sure, but who knows? We will have to wait and see, but I'm definitely living for this shade by Anna. I don't know. I mean, I don't love that she's married to Josh. Anna is her own person, but at the end of the day, anyone that's going to throw Michelle under the bus for the way that she chose to parent her children, I'm going to be all for that. No child should be tasked to raise their children. I mean, once a girl is 7, they're not responsible enough to raise a child. They're not responsible enough to be making parental decisions. That's just ridiculous. So Anna is saying, no buddy system, no way, Michelle, you are not a good parent, or something like that. Maybe not. Anyways, Anna has also been getting a little bit more frisky when somebody asked her about whether or not she was pregnant again, because there was some suggestions that she was pregnant because she had a fuller belly. I wasn't really convinced of that because it just looked to me like she had not yet lost her baby weight. And I think she's still nursing. She might still be nursing. And she said that she is not pregnant. She's just had a little too many cinnamon rolls lately. Cinnamon rolls are good, Anna. Enjoy. So what do you think about Anna shading Michelle's buddy system? Are you living for it? Do you think Anna is getting irritated with her parents, her in-laws, because of the fact that they're living on the compound and there's this close proximity to them? Do you think that Jim Bob's clutch and control of the family because of Josh's actions and this looming investigation is putting a pressure on Anna? I've never seen an Anna like this, and I'm all for it. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.